matches what I was doing.
Okay. Can we hear each other now? Bella, uyandiva? Can you hear me, Bella? Okay.
When you are liver.
No, very well. Mr. Kamata, let me unmute you.
I've just done that.
Yes,
I can hear you very well.
Lovely, lovely. Let's wait for Dr. Mbude. Yeah, let's wait for Dr. Mbude. I'm not sure. Are you hearing an echo still?
Oh yes, I can hear it now that we are three connected.
Let's wait for Dr. Mbude to go in.
I'm waiting.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the province to get in.
Protocol, it's important.
And we Baba said that.
Dr. Mbude? Dr. Mbude? I can see her, but I can't see her face. Dr. Mbude? You see, guys, I can't start without starting with the province.
We are representatives of the province. At the level.
All right, I think you will have to join us. All right. The echo is still there, but it's not as bad as it was before.
Okay.
All right, maybe let me just start afresh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen who have joined us via multiple social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and also the website of Dr. Fundi. Today, we are going to talk about the state of readiness of the schools in the Eastern Cape province. I've got 3 guests with me. I've got Mr. Kulile Kamata, who is the principal for Nyanga High School, Engobo. I've got Mr. Magaka Zolisa from St. John's College in Umtata. I've got the Chief Director for Communications, Dr. Naledi Mbude from Head Office. Those are my 3 guests. Now, we've experienced a few technical challenges, which has made us to have, to start afresh, getting into this broadcast. We were experiencing a lot of echo. It's still there, but not to the same extent. Now, I want to welcome then my guest, Mr. Kamata. Welcome to the Dr. Fundi platform.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to
Mr. Magaka, welcome to the Dr. Fundi platform.
Thank you very much, Doc. Good afternoon.
All right. Dr. Mbude, okay, I think we'll have to proceed without Dr. Mbude. Maybe she'll join us along the way. In terms of protocol, we're supposed to start with the provincial official, and then we get to the principals. Now, unfortunately, technology does not seem to be working with us, but I can see that she's trying to connect. Dr. Mbude?
Yes,
Dr.
I can
Mbude?
hear you.
All right. There's still a little bit of echo, but I think we'll have to proceed with, Now, what I want to, I just want to welcome you, all 3 of you, to this platform. I've already introduced you, Dr. Mbude, but in terms of protocol, we could not start without hearing from you. So now that the head office is represented, I think it's time for us to start. Can you just tell us a little bit about your responsibility within the Eastern Cape Department of Education, Dr. Mbude?
Thank you, Dr. Nyati. Welcome to my colleague as well. I'm the Chief Director responsible for communication in the province and stakeholder management.
Yes.
That is my responsibility.
Yes. So in terms of the topic that we are covering today, which is about the state of readiness of the schools in the Eastern Cape province, I'm assuming that you got the necessary authorizations to be able to talk to us.
Yes. Definitely.
All right. Just to kickstart then the discussion, a few weeks ago, Department of Basic Education announced that on the 1st of June, schools will be reopening. Now, what I want to find out from your point of view as a provincial department, how much discussions or involvement was there between national and also the provincial education department in terms of preparing for the announcement of the reopening?
Ever since the lockdown phase was instituted by the president, all provincial departments were notified by the minister. We have regular meetings with the CM. Our MP is represented in the CM. Our HOD is represented in the HEDCOM. All our senior education officials, particularly at our level, senior managers, are involved in the DBE subcommittees that are there. So all our planning is being handled with national planning.
Okay. So basically, by the time an announcement was made, you, as the provincial department, were fully appraised of everything relating to that.
Definitely, definitely.
Yes. Okay. And then the announcement was made that the schools will be reopening on the 1st.
Yes.
Now, what kind of preparation had to take place within the provincial department, you know, in liaison with the various stakeholders to make sure that when the date comes, everything is actually ready for the learners and the teachers to come back to school?
In terms of our school indicators, the areas that we had to prepare for in the province, one was the issue of social distancing in our classrooms. And the second one was the issue of making sure that there's water and sanitation in our schools in line with the COVID-19 guidelines. The other one was the HR in terms of our educators and those that have comorbidities in the system. Another area was the area of PPE, personal protection equipment. And the other one for us was scholar transport, which is a combined responsibility with the Department of Transport in the province. And the other one was school nutrition, which we have a direct control of because we do have funds from the National Department in terms of that.
Yes.
But the province set up a provincial command council, which is inclusive of our school governing bodies, our unions, all the labor unions that have representation, organized labor in terms of our teacher union, our Eastern Cape Education Advisory Council, where we have INCOs sitting on it, business people, universities, and youth formation. So we've activated all our structures in the province to ensure that we have the weekly sessions that we call the Provincial Command Council. We have been meeting every Saturday since the 2nd of May to prepare us, but we've had provincial engagements with them individually, even before the 2nd of May. But we decided to collapse all those structures so that we have a Provincial Command Council. On our side, the problem was when we were told by the National Treasury that the PPEs that we had placed after the minister had announced the 1st of June as opening, and then they told us on the 27th of April that they couldn't deliver for the province. They were only prioritizing the Department of Health.
Yes.
That set us back completely because it meant that we had to start a procurement process whereby the province then had to start from scratch. So in terms of our plans, that set us on the trajectory where we now had to do everything triple a fold because we were trying to catch up with the plan so that on the 1st we'll be ready. Hence, we are still trying to ensure that the deliveries happen. It is because of the disappointment we got from National Treasury around the delivery and the ordering of PPEs in the province.
Yes. Okay. All right. So as we speak today, 2 days before the 1st, what sense do you have broadly about the province and its readiness to accept learners on Monday?
I do want to say to Tanyati that the Eastern Cape decided that when the National Treasury was unable to provide for the province, we would only use our local suppliers because we were cognizant of the fact that during lockdown, many of our businesses would have to go under, and the fact that we would have massive unemployment in the province. So we decided to appoint local SMMEs to supply a staggered kind of approach in terms of the PPEs that had to be delivered to the province and the issue of water and sanitation that had to be done from the national department. So
Yes.
we ensured that we have 30 suppliers locally that we divided, because our approach of phasing in was to start with 1/3 of our workforce. It meant that we had to make sure that head office was ready, district offices were ready, then you would have schools in the last phase. So in
Yes.
terms of the delivery of our PPEs in our head offices and clinics, the Department of Public Works has the prerogative of cleaning our offices. But we
Yes.
have been in those offices since the announcement of the lockdown. And in terms of readiness for that, we have sites that have been cleaned. But the fact that the Department of Public Works has not done all our offices, we are still in a process because they are continuing as we speak. So in
Yes.
terms of cleaning of offices in the province, we can say that the province is sitting at about 60% in terms of cleaning of offices.
Yes.
The second part is the delivery of PPE. After the 30 local SMMEs were appointed, because the province itself does not manufacture the PPEs, the local suppliers had to source this from other provinces, particularly Durban and Gauteng and Cape Town. So people locally thought that we were using outside suppliers, but actually it was our local SMME who were sourcing these supplies from outside of the province, because we all know the situation with the E.Cape and manufacturing. So
Yes.
that was the first phase of the procurement. And in terms of the delivery of that one, yesterday we were sitting at 71% for our head office, our district offices, because locally there was a problem with suppliers closing the borders coming into the district and into the towns, because they were dissatisfied with the fact that there were trucks coming into the province, not being aware that the first phase was only for our district offices and our SMTs in our schools. But
Yes.
as we speak, we have appointed 221 local suppliers which are circuit-based, and those are responsible for supplying PPEs to our learners. So in terms of that, we are still getting updates every time, because we've developed an app that will upload as the deliveries are happening. Now, in our storehouse, in our warehouses, we have stored the PPEs for learners, because we heard that in other provinces, schools were broken into because people were stealing the PPEs.
Yes.
So today and tomorrow, we are making sure that all our schools are getting the supplies, because we are worried that some schools have been vandalized because of what they have. Now we are having a provisional. The MEC had a press briefing on Friday, announcing to the Eastern Cape in terms of schools opening and what we have in terms of the work that has been done. But as we speak, I just came out of what we call the Provincial Command Council, where our top management and our unions and our SGPs sit in every Saturday at 12 o'clock to update one another. So our plan is informed to our stakeholders, but in terms of the deliveries, we were having problems in OR Tambo Coastal and OR Tambo Inland because of the problems with suppliers there and SMMEs. But now that our SMMEs have been given enough to do and ensuring that in the 221 that have been appointed, we are seeing a fast move of delivery, because people have now been distributed work equally. It's just that they did not understand that the first cohort was only just for SMMEs and districts and not particularly for learners.
Yes. Okay. I think that gives us a broad idea of where things are at. I would like to bring in principals at this point. I'll start with Mr. Kulile Kamata from Nyanga High School. Mr. Kamata,
Well,
as the principal, as the principal of Nyanga High School, what is your state of readiness for the 1st of June to welcome the learners, grade 7 and grade 12 learners into the school?
Because we are a school that has a hostel, We are receiving our learners tomorrow, not on the 1st. And we are ready for that. We have done all preparations. We have not received all the PPE for learners. In fact, we have not received PPE for learners, but we received PPE for staff. And because we knew when we heard about what Dr. Wood has just explained, we knew that there would be delays in the supply. And then as the SGP and SMT, we took a decision to get the minimum required PPE so that we can kickstart learning on the 1st. So tomorrow we'll be receiving our grade 12 matriculants in batches. For instance, at 9 a.m., we'll be receiving 12A learners. At 10, we'll be receiving 12B, and there's a committee that's going to be doing all the receiving, the screening, unpacking of COVID-19 to learners, the orientation program, and everything. So we are ready.
I think you have just summarized this. What I want to know, is there a structure that has been set up within your school to address this whole thing? You know, because if you look at the regulations, there's a number of things that are expected, you know, compliance officer and things like that. So what structure is driving this readiness within your school?
Yes, Bella, let me start by saying we've been having meetings this whole week. We started on Monday having a meeting with a joint meeting of SGP and SMT. The second day, on Tuesday, we had a meeting with educators. And lastly, we had a meeting with the whole support staff. When we were doing the whole planning, we saw that out of the 44 educators that we have, 30 are going to be having classes now that we're having grade 12 only. So there are about 14 educators that don't have classes. And out of them, we appointed a COVID-19 committee that's going to be hands-on in monitoring social distance and everything that needs to be done. But moreover, the other very important task of the educators who won't be having classes. We've agreed that we're going to be compiling some pamphlets for the internal grades, pamphlets and videos that these internal grades that parents can come and fetch so that the internal grades can work at home in the meantime. So we have a committee that we appointed that is led by one of my deputies, Mr. Mliu.
Yes, all right. Now, let me move to Mr. Makaka from St. John's College in Umtata. You can unmute yourself, Mr. Makaka.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati.
Yes.
Let me start by saying we are not ready to receive the learners tomorrow and Monday. But let me say, the state of readiness, we are ready. Because we had a series of meetings with the SMT and the SGB, even before we received the PPEs. But we received the PPEs for the teaching staff, and we haven't received the PPEs for the non-teaching staff. And the teaching staff is 71. Everything is in place. The non-teaching staff, which is 70, we haven't received anything. But we received the teaching staff PPEs on Wednesday afternoon at 3:30. Then after that, because we promised that we're going to receive PPEs, so we did not know anything, what it will look like and so on. So we ended up asking our SGB to assist so that we can be able to start with the non-teaching staff as well and assist in buying a few items, PPEs for learners, so that we can start with the learners as well. So we are currently waiting for PPEs for learners and the non-teaching staff bought by the SGB to come either tomorrow or Monday. In terms of readiness, we have done the cleaning.
Yes.
We have looked at the number of classes that we're going to use, which is 16 for 365 learners, grade 12 only. We have done the markings for desks where they are supposed to be. We have done the spacing in line with the regulations. Then we are ready with our command team, and we know where our sanitizers will be. We know what we are going to do when we receive our learners. We've prepared our hostels as well. We know how many learners will be in a dormitory. Then we've split them throughout the hostel because grade 11 and 10 will not be in. So we have a fewer number per dormitory, but we have used also the dormitories for grade 11 and 10.
Yeah.
Then we do have a command team, school command team, which is going to look at what will be happening at the gate, what will be happening at the hostels when they wake up, what will be happening at the dining hall when they get in, what will be happening when they come to classes, up until they knock off. Then that pertains to use of sanitizers, washing of hands, social distancing, and so on. So we have managed to do that.
Yeah.
Then we have a second committee which is focusing on curriculum delivery, which is looking at the timetable because we are going to spread them more than they were. We had 6 classes for them, but we are going to have 16 classes.
Yeah.
Then we have done reallocation of teachers, meaning that we have taken teachers from lower grades to be part of grade 12 now.
Yeah.
And they will be teaching. And we have 40 teachers that will be engaged in teaching out of 71.
Yeah.
So the remaining 31 teachers will be the ones that will be part of the command team, checking if everything is done according to the required ways. Then I want to add by saying we talked of the syllabus coverage as well, because we have to extend our timetable starting from 8 up until 5:30 instead of knocking off at 3.
Yes.
So that we have more hours for covering the syllabus, at least 1 hour per subject per week extra for syllabus coverage. That will be from Monday to Friday. Because we have a hostel and more learners are at the hostel, we said from 7 in the evening up to 10, then we have our evening studies instead of up to 9. So we have an extra hour for evening studies. But we said for those who are staying at home, they must also please make sure that they have their evening studies from 7 to 10 as well. But we do have a wish that all of them could wake up at 3.
You.
wash, prepare for going to school. Then 4 to 6, they have 2 more classes. Sorry, 2 more hours for studies, so that at least they cover up on their studies, having 5 hours per day for studies, then 8 hours for tuition. So that's how far we have gone. But immediately our suppliers give us the PPEs for the learners and the non-teaching staff, which may be on Monday, if not tomorrow. Then we'll call the learners. But with our command team, we've done a workshop for the staff. Now the next one will be a workshop for the learners. But as Nyanga has said, or Mr. Kamata has said, we are going to phase them in per class so that we do not have a bigger number than the 50 that is stipulated.
Yes.
Then we do a dry run with each group so that they know what to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pele. Let me go back to Mr. Kamata.
Yes, sir.
Kura. Now, I know that you've been leading awareness programs about the disease itself as part of the health and safety, program that is supposed to be in place before the students come to school. How has that gone? The awareness sessions.
Let me first acknowledge your assistance on this, because you will remember that we asked you to send us a detailed basic presentation that unpacks the disease, because the only way we can be able to manage this or live within this pandemic is to have a better understanding, a common understanding of the disease, its symptoms, its transmissions, and everything. So you sent us that, and it proved to be very fruitful. I must say that the department also, after you provided us with that, we did also get something from the province. They called it an orientation for learners and staff. But we saw that it's almost the same thing, so we used yours. I must say it was very fruitful, and I must say it was very necessary, because Belle, everybody knows that there's a pandemic, but the details of getting into understanding the symptoms and the behavior change that is required, what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, we need to go through that process. We had to go through that process with everyone. It is going to be even worse tomorrow, Bella, because we are going to be doing that about 5 times. So starting from 9 o'clock, I think the last group will be ending at 2 o'clock. So it has proved to be very fruitful, and I think it is something that needs to be done by all schools.
Yes. Now, earlier this week, your school was featured on Sowetan, where the community around Engcobo were helping to clean the school. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Pele. I must say we do have good relations with the community, something that's supposed to be done by all schools, because a school is defined as a community within a community. They do that annually. Annually, before schools start, we'll always have members of the community coming to clean the place, because it is getting the grass was cut by our support staff, but the classes were cleaned by members of the community. The rearrangement of desks from the 5 classes that we're having for grade 12 to 12 classes, that was done by them, but also with the guidance of the SMT. So the members of the community, I are working very well with us. The SGB is working very well with us. And let me say also that we also got assisted by the school caterer, a lady called Miss Ngewana, who runs the company that is catering for our learners. Coincidentally, he's also catering for St. John's.
St. John's, yes.
Yes, he donated the sanitary booth, and also she did the fumigation of the classrooms for us and the hostel. So at least then that saved us a lot of costs. So I must also appreciate that role here. But I also appreciate the continuous support that we get from the community.
Yes. Okay. Now back to St. John's College. How much support has St. John's got from the nearby communities in terms of being assisted to be ready? Obviously, some stuff has to come from the head office, as well, or organized, via there. But the community of Mthatha, how much support have they given to St. John's College in Mthatha?
Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati. Unfortunately, we were not as fortunate as Nyanga, but at least for the catering company, we received a lot of assistance, as he has indicated, for Nyanga as well. But our community around is mainly shops that are in town, which did not assist much because our community is in town. I just want to put it that way. So there isn't much.
There's less umuntu in
town
than in small towns like eNgcobo.
Yes, like Nyanga is outside a town, so there is a community around, which is part of the school. But for us, immediately 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then everybody leaves. So there are no homes that are around that usually assist us. So we were not as fortunate as Nyanga. But the support we are getting is from our SGB, which is supporting us very much in terms of organizing what we are falling short of. Thank you.
All right, no, that's good. What kind of things would you have wished, to receive as part of broader support by the community of Mthatha to help you, in getting the school ready?
Let me start with the transport industry. If it is possible for the learners that are staying outside the campus, at 5:30 when we knock off, it will be a little bit dark. So if we can have a partnership with them so that there are taxis that can come and pick our learners, those that are staying outside the hostel, our learners from the gate, take them home. We may negotiate the price as they usually pay when they come to school. But if it is possible, even in the morning, if they can pick them where they left them so that they are all early to come to school and be part of the start of the programs, then that would make us happy.
What percentage of your students are actually day scholars as opposed to those who are boarders?
For grade 12, we have 200 boarders and 165 are staying outside, which is almost 70%, yes, which is almost 70%. So there's still more of them that are staying outside. Well, we do have a shortage of classrooms because the classes that we have at the present moment, we are going to use 16, but all the other classes will be used to store our furniture, which is coming from the 16 classes. So we really have a lot of shortage of classes and the space at the hostel as well. Those are the two issues that we have a challenge with, such that even if another grade could be phased in, we'll have a shortage in the hostel, we'll also have a shortage in the classes. So these are the two things I feel we are really short of.
So these are the things that keep you awake at night, as far as, as the phasing in process matures, you are going to be in charge, in a serious problem.
Yes, and as because of the phasing in process, I had a wish that I could take all my grade 12s to the hostel. But unfortunately, they could only be in the hostel for 2 weeks. Then when grade 11s or another grade is coming in, then they have to go out because that space was meant for the other grades as well.
So in the short term, because these issues that we are raising, they are obviously issues that cannot be solved like overnight. So in the short term, what's your biggest headache?
If we are saying it's grade 12 only, then I'm comfortable. I have no headache at all because I'm really ready. Then I can receive the learners and we can continue with everything in place. But my headache will only come when another grade is phased in. Shortage of space in the hostel, shortage of space in the classes.
And
then
if they
could, yes, no, with the teachers, I'm still comfortable up to, I think, up to two grades, because I have 30 more teachers that are not part of the grade 12 class.
All right. Now, I just want to ask you, I'm interviewing you guys from Johannesburg, as you know, and quite a number of schools here have moved to online type of teaching. Now, I haven't heard you or even Mr. Kamata talking about the option of online teaching. So before I go to Mr. Kamata, can you just talk to us, Mr. Makaka, around capabilities of your school to facilitate online teaching? Because it doesn't look like it's going to be possible to have all kids being taught within, the four walls of a classroom.
Mrs. Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati. The only thing we were able to do was to teach our learners during the lockdown period using WhatsApp groups that were created before we left.
How do
at
you
the
do
present
that?
moment, come again.
How do you teach via WhatsApp?
It's only voice. It's only voice, or you can send videos. You record yourself with a voice, then you send it to them, or it's videos. But what happened was the learners at some stage felt like they do not have enough data to capture the videos or the recordings. Yes, some responded, others did not respond at all, but we were at 80% response. Number two, the province promised to give our grade 12 learners tablets and SIM cards with data. So immediately we get that, we have organized a team or a committee that is going to look into putting in the staff, and they have organized Microsoft Teams as a way of communication, as we are doing with Zoom at the present moment.
Yes.
So immediately we receive those, because some of the learners will say they do not have smartphones or tablets. So immediately we get to that, then we will have these Zoom or the Microsoft Teams classes where we'll be able to be with them even if they are at home. That is part of the virtual classes, but I didn't talk about it because it hasn't yet started, although we do have a committee that is looking at the possibilities of doing that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makaka. Mr. Kamata, can you come back and just tell us a little bit about use of online learning as a way to try and augment or solve some of the capacity challenges in terms of the classes and other issues that may come as a result of face-to-face type of classes. Can you unmute yourself? Right, Mr. Yeah.
Yes. Virtual classes is quite a problem this side, Belly. We also with us, just like St. John's did, by the time we were told that we had to close schools, we grouped our learners into 7 groups. We used those groups, we grouped them according to merit order, and we put 30 in a group. We arranged with some former students, the likes of Lomso, were the top learners, to facilitate each of the groups, and then we would then put an educator in each group. We had a fully fledged program. We were using WhatsApp. I can see you are not aware that we can use WhatsApp. We use what is available with us. And we had a fully fledged program where from 5 a.m. to 7, it was mathematics. They would go to the maths group. Then after that, from 8 to 9, it's another group. And then we've been working like that. And there was a time when learners felt that they were struggling with data. They were getting data from parents. We asked parents to assist them. Then we then approached some friends of the school who are passionate about education. They gave us a sum of 20,000. We bought 100 rand data for each learner, and then we could continue for some time. But I must say that when we started May, the participation started to drop drastically. You could see that now learners, at least, they really need someone now. But we were doing that only with grade 12, remember. And I must say it was not easy. I was in all those groups and I would hear the cries, there's no network in this place. And because we are in deep rural, our kids are coming from all the rural areas where sometimes network is a serious problem. So that is why now, even now with the internal classes, we didn't say that we are going to look at virtual classrooms, but we said the teachers must do videos, organize videos. We arranged a professional photographer to come and do that. Kiwa photography is going to be starting. In fact, he's going to be at school tomorrow. record the way we'll be receiving learners. And then that's why we were saying the teachers now must work on compiling easy to read notes for the learners and do some videos so that parents can come and take some packs, because the use of visual education is quite a problem this side.
All right.
And the challenge of data as well.
Now, I do know that both your schools have got strong, support, or potentially a strong support from former learners who have now become professionals, like myself at St. John's. How much have you done as Nyanga and also as St. John's to try and leverage your old boys and old girls to come to the rescue of the school?
Is it Nyanga or St. John's?
Let's start with St. John's, because I'm almost talking to myself there. Can you unmute yourself? Mr. Makat.
Yes. Am I going okay now?
Yes.
Okay. At the present moment, just right before we closed, we were talking to one of our staff members, Mrs. Kezani, talking to our ex-students. But unfortunately, yes, they are phoning, they are giving support, but there is nothing much that we received in the form of support. Well, I think because of lockdown, because we decided to continue again when things are eased up a bit. So we do have Mrs. Njongwe, who is one of our ex-students. She was organizing a number of ex-students to come and assist us. And she has a group at least, but I know because you were in different age groups, she might have not come to your group at the present moment. But even our staff member, Mrs. Kezani, who initiated this and who was doing it because of lockdown, then we said we won't be able to move. And we were not able to move. So that is the situation.
But there is a wish. Is there a wish for those ex-students to get involved somehow?
Yes, please. Especially when we talk of the virtual classes, because our school is ready, but it's only the learners that do not have tablets, the learners that do not have data. Otherwise, as the school, network, as the school, we are ready to provide a studio. Then where our teachers could even teach other grades that are at home.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Kamato,
Yes,
you've got CAs and other top people who have come out of your school, who are in positions of influence. How much leverage have you done, to try and get them to come and support their former school?
For now, Bele, the only support, in fact, let me say, maybe the support has been on lockdown for now. But let me say that there is something that we have been assisted with by former students. Firstly, we established within the school a sick bay. We did not.
I can't hear you.
Difficult. Okay. Yes, we're considering that it's going to be risky to take our learners to hospital who are sick with any other thing besides COVID-19. So in establishing that sick bay, I spoke to Mr. Getu, the CEO of the hospital, together with two doctors who are in town, Dr. Lali and Dr. Mtichwa, to say they must help us in terms of ensuring that the sick bay has got everything that it will need, so that we can even transfer learners to them if needs be, so that we avoid the hospital that might be congested and that might be risky for the learners. So that is the support that at least we got. But for now, we've not done anything.
What other support are you wishing for from your former students?
It's just a similar one with what Mr. Makaka is saying, because I think we need to when we were doing these classes with the grade 12s, I realized how important the visual education is. I could see learners working there from 5 a.m. in those different groups until 9 p.m. And I know that it's very difficult to be in a textbook for that long. So, but learners can stay in their phones for that long. It's just that we have to create a progressive program for them. So I saw the importance of it, and I must say it's something that we need to venture in.
All right. You know, the network is definitely
the department.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying I know that the department has promised us tablets for the grade 12s and data for the grade 12s, but for the other classes, I didn't hear anything. So I'm saying
when the other classes come back, what do you envisage is going to happen?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for the other classes to come back, unless grade 12 will have to be relieved for maybe 2 weeks to cater for another grade. Because now, out of the 21 classes that we have, grade 12 has already taken 12, leaving only 9 classes, and then the hostel. In the hostel, that takes 450. We have got 5 learners and 6 learners in a dormitory, which is sufficient for social distancing. So there's no way that we can host another grade with the grade 12 still at school and still manage the social distancing that is required.
Yeah.
So for me, if for instance, grade 12 would be here, let's say, the whole of June and maybe half of July, and then we can then maybe give them a lot of work to go and do at home for some time. I don't really see other grades coming in and we're still maintaining the social distancing that is required.
Yes.
So I think that's a challenge.
Yes. Now, on the issue of cleaning and disinfection of the premises, because I hear before kids came back, a lot of work has been done. But there's supposed to be regular, you know, disinfection and cleaning of the classes. How is that going to be possible? I'm not talking about ordinary cleaning. I'm talking about, you know, deep cleaning of the premises. Okay,
thank you very much, Dr. Nyati. This is not easy for us as the schools. If I could be asked what I really need, it's simple that we use the walk-through booths.
Yeah.
For the gate, for the hostels, and target some entrances in the in the school. Then when the learners are going to the toilets as well, they walk through when they come in and they walk through when they get out. And also for classes, if we can have the ceiling sprinklers for sanitization and disinfection, that would be ideal. But when I checked with one supplier who promised they could supply, then it came out to be a bit expensive for the school.
Yes.
Otherwise, this sanitization of hands only, for me, it's scary. It's really scary. But we said we are going to clean first thing in the morning, an hour before they start. It's just cleaning. Then maybe during lunch, from 12:15 to 1:15, when they've gone for lunch break, then we do the cleaning again. Then for the smaller breaks of 15 minutes, then they will get out to wash their hands, then they come back, sanitize, and they again sanitize their desks and chairs. So it's not really easy because disinfection, then it needs more.
Okay.
And we cannot afford.
All right, I'm going to go back to Dr. Mbude because we have been talking amongst ourselves and we did not involve her. But maybe it was good to get a sense from you guys so that we can go back to her. But on the issue of the walk-through booths, yesterday, the Minister of Health nationally, together with his advisory team, they actually mentioned that the value of these walk-through booths is actually minimal in terms of preventing COVID-19. If anything, they highlighted a potential risk of, triggering allergies and other issues to the kids. So I'm almost thinking that after that presentation that they made on TV yesterday, a lot of people who already bought those will actually be feeling quite lousy because basically they were told that those things don't add value. So maybe it's not a bad thing that St. John's doesn't have it as yet, because there is no scientific basis that it actually helps to reduce transmission of COVID-19. But we can talk outside of this forum. All right. Let me go back to Usisna Lady from the province, because she has been listening to everything that you guys have been saying. And I think it's time to wrap things up with a word from the head office. So, Sisna Lady, we're back to you now.
Thank you, Dr. Nyati, and thank you to my two colleagues. I do want to add that I thought that the two of them would mention that the department has given them the opportunity to employ people locally. It's the only province that is employing 20,000 cleaners from the unemployed in their local places, so that they can be responsible for making sure that cleaning happens in the schools. I think it's an effort that is important to fill up the gap so that teachers don't have to do that. So all schools have that opportunity. The principal and the SGB are all involved in an effort to ensure that what we call the school support team is in place. I'm hoping that the two principals here have also started the job of ensuring that we employ those individuals. They will receive a stipend of 2,500 per month for the next 3 months, and we are engaging the Department of Public Works so that we can extend those contracts for those people that have been employed, depending on the number of learners in the school. That's one thing. Yes. I'm happy that you have mentioned the issue of walk-through booths, because we all probably realize that the COVID-19 is a disease that that attacks the respiratory system. So anything that will trigger allergies in a child might cause immunosuppression. So we do not want to place our learners in that kind of a situation whereby the chemicals that come from the booth creates a second layer problem. So I'm happy that you've dealt with that. One of the issues in closing that I would like to mention.
I'll give you more time because I want you to, at the
Okay.
early part of the presentation, the link was a bit bad. And
Okay.
so I really want to give you time. We'll take it until 5:30.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati. I do want to say that all schools, all our learners, the department has invested in what we call virtual classrooms in terms of the curriculum catch-up program, which is a business continuity mechanism for us. I've noted the concerns of the principals around the issue of data. Those lessons have been available on radio, free of charge, and on television, and the schedules of broadcast have been given to all schools. So the issue of WhatsApp that they have been using is also welcome, but also I'm hoping that they're realizing that the fact that the learners have to use their own data is an issue that our parents cannot afford. But I know that schools that are performing like those two would supplement whatever they get with something else. But I do want to say that each school and each district has been having on the public space the schedule of lessons that are available that the department has invested in terms of SABC, and they've been running since day one from the COVID-19 lockdown. But I would like them to forward to us the issues that they are having with virtual, because one of the issues that learners get exhausted listening to somebody that they don't know and that they can interact with. But I do want to say that the department made that available from the first day of the lockdown period. The second issue that I would really like to raise is the issue of tablets that both of them have raised. On the 31st of May, which is tomorrow, the tablets have already arrived at the airport. 55,000 tablets are arriving with local suppliers starting on Monday, the 1st of June, with configuration and uploading, because we've been able to verify 70,000 learners. And thank you to our principals that have assisted us in terms of verification of the grade 12 learners. I think we also have another 3,000 learners that we still have to verify. But of the 55,000 tablets already that will arrive tomorrow and be reconfigured on Monday, on the 8th of June next week, we're starting with distribution, having used our local suppliers as well. But we are hoping that our principals will make sure that the data, that the information that has been given to us in terms of the learners correlates with what we have on our SSMs. But that process is a project that we have been committed to, and those tablets come with a SIM card that is loaded with data already for our learners for grade 12. And I'm happy that they are really looking forward to that one. I do want to say that the other issue that they have raised is the issue of grade 12. You will remember that in the province, we have more classrooms than learners, particularly around our areas where the out-migration has happened to other provinces. So the issue of social distancing is not going to be too much of an issue in the first phase of the phasing in, particularly around grade 12 and grade 7. We are, as a province, putting up the proposal that it will be really ideal if we could concentrate on our exit grade, because it allows, therefore, the grades underneath to be able to continue next year. But our major focus is around grade 12. But having said that, we need the homeschooling. Our curriculum guys are doing the curriculum trimming, both with the DBE nationally and provincially, to ensure that we keep on supporting our other grades, because schooling does not only end or start or begin with grade 12. Our learners in the other grades need the support that we have been giving to our grade learners, 12 learners as well. The issue of transport, e-scholar transport for us is an issue that is an area that we have a joint mandate with the Department of Transport, because the budget lies with them. We supply the names and the numbers of learners that have to be transported. I took a cognizant of the fact that Mr. Magata was was mentioning the issue of transport. And I think that it must go, Mr. Magaga, to the district, because the district director sits in the JOG, where the issues and discussions around what the other departments in our IGR with our stakeholders must take up in the Joint Operations Committee. And the issue also of the DEF, the District Education Forum, is important because those are the people who are part of the broader community. And that is an issue that can be quickly arranged because we have different members of the community sitting with our DF. So the activation of our district education forums is important, whereby members from the community of St. John's will raise their issues related to transport and other things as well. I do want to say, Mr. Dr. Nyati, that in terms of our orientation packs that have to do with standard operating procedures, whether it's social distancing or whether it's screening, we have a joint partnership also with the Department of Health, because as education, our part ends and starts with screening, and then we refer every time there is what we call a person under investigation, a PUI, or somebody who is at high temperature or exhibiting signs that they might be infected with COVID-19. But as a doctor, you would know that the incubation period, of which is between 1 to 14 days, is going to be presenting a challenge for us. Because sometimes the incubation, you would show signs early in the morning or late in the evening, or you'd be asymptomatic with no signs at all, but still being a carrier. And this is the thing, and this is the issue that we must live with COVID, because when learners get to school, then they would think that they are positive because they are at school, but they have been positive, but simply because we have very low presentation with learners and young children. With adults, it's more, particularly those adults who have comorbids. We have said to our schools, Dr. Nyati, that any school in the province that is not deemed safe in terms of the issue of PPEs, that one with the arrival, it's an ongoing process. We are not too worried about that. But the issue of a school not having enough sanitation and water, particularly where it is posing a danger, we've said to district directors, those schools must be declared as level 5. They will not open, because we are not in this thing to start a genocide whereby we are saying that even if the school does not have a proper ablution facilities, it must be open. So district directors have done what we call alternative arrangements for those schools that will not open, precisely because they remain in level 5. Like in the rest of the province, we have hotspot areas where a school suddenly becomes a hotspot because it is in a hotspot area in terms of level 5. So the declaration of a school in terms of level 5 does not only mean that it will be around issues of infrastructure, water and sanitation or PPE, but it will also be a determinant if the number of people who are affected or infected goes up. Then the declaration in terms of level 5 is something that district directors and principals, informed by principals, actually must do. Each school has been, in the SOP, is guided to have what we call a holding room. I heard Mr. Amata saying there a sick bay. Some of the schools do have, and some of the schools don't have, but we've said to them in our standard operating procedures for safety, ensure that you have an area which is a holding area, because not only must we flatten the curve, but the transfer, we must make sure that we don't transfer the disease. So the isolation of learners or teachers or non-teaching staff in the school when screening indicates is important so that we do not extend. Hence, we are worried about people going in and out of schools, so including community members and parents, because if the school has been cleaned already, as the two have been mentioning, it cannot be that we open them up again for people going in and out, because the curb of transmission is part of our responsibility. Lastly, I want to mention our partnership with Bidvest. Bidvest has offered nationally, not only to the Eastern Cape, free of charge services whereby they give us a number of schools that they will clean for free. In the Eastern Cape, we have the Bonke Ngabetu campaign, concentrating on our vulnerable learners. The Bonke Ngabetu campaign was launched last year by the MEC, Honorable Fundile Gade, to ensure that our vulnerable children in our special schools and those sitting in our full service schools that have barriers to learning because of a disability that they are born with, we concentrated the effort of Bidvest around ensuring that all our 46 special schools are cleaned, and the hostels in the special schools, and also our care centers for learners with severe to intellectually profound disabilities. But those care centers are DSD registered, but our responsibility in terms of education is ensuring the education stimulation of those learners. So I do want to mention that we do appreciate the efforts that have been done by various organizations, including Bidvest, that has almost completely, we are now sitting at 80% today of the schools that have been cleaned by Bidvest, free of charge for cleaning our schools, because we do know that our learners in special schools have comorbidities.
Yes, Doc. So the offer by Bidvest is mainly for the special schools with vulnerable children.
Exactly.
Does it not extend to schools like Nyanga or St. John's, you know?
It does. We have said that all schools, that's our phase 2. We've said to them we'll have a phase 1, concentrating on all our special schools, particularly those who will open on Monday. And also, if our phase 2, which will start on Monday, is all our full public ordinary schools that are like Nyanga and St. John's that have hostels. So they will move on our phase 2 when they have completed the whole sample, which is tomorrow, the 31st of May.
Okay.
Only
no, that's
with hostels.
Yes, you can continue. There were a few points that you still wanted to address.
Okay, so I was saying all our full service schools, therefore, in the province have been put on our phase 1 list. Our full service schools and our special schools are schools that we really want to make sure we know that COVID-19 has this problem of attacking and people with weak immune systems. Hence, we are putting our vulnerable children and learners on a special dispensation with making sure everything is fine. The other issue that I wanted to mention is that we have transferred all the tranches to our schools so that principals and SGPs can make use of funds in their schools. Where a school has not arrived in terms of PPEs and their learners, we have ensured that the money that schools are supposed to be getting in terms of tranches, it's in all our schools. The only schools that are not on are those schools that have changed their banking details, and there are only 29 in the province, and we are dealing with them. But all our schools have received their tranches and funding as well, including our special schools, to ensure they use that money to ensure if there's anything that they need to buy, they can take from that money as well. We have also, the school nutrition has also been extended to the learners who might not be opening now, but who would want to have something to eat, because communities have been saying to us, children are used to eating at school during school hours, and they're sitting at home now without anything to eat. And we've agreed with DBE that where it is possible, let the schools identify an area where our learners could go and have a bit of food so that they don't watch the others eating while they are sitting at home with nothing to eat. Thank you, Dr. Nyati.
All right. I want to go back to the principals. I want to go back to them because as you were talking, you were trying to address some of the issues that they've mentioned, but I just want to hear from them, though, whether are they getting any comfort from some of the issues that you have mentioned, the solutions that are coming their way. Let me start with Mr. Makaka. Uyathetha uNdlunkulu has spoken about solutions that are coming your way. Does that give you any comfort as the principal of St. John's College?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because not everything that is on paper or that has been said is being implemented as of now. Yes, I understand some are still to come. But can I ask a question? What do we mean by cleaning the school, what do we mean by disinfecting?
All right. Remember okay, I'm just going to talk at a high level.
Yes. Yes.
I am an employer.
Yes.
We've got offices in Midrand. I've got about 50 staff members who are in those offices. Now, most of those employees were at home during lockdown, except those who were like essential workers. Now,
Yes.
as we were allowed to come back, under level 4, there was a need to get specialized type of cleaning. It's called deep cleaning, to disinfect surfaces. Remember, people sneeze, cough, and this germ is able to sit on surfaces sometimes for days, and in fact, it can even be weeks. So when we're talking deep cleaning, we're talking about the type of cleaning that is targeted at all surfaces to make sure that should there be somebody who was sneezing there or coughing there and left the germ on the surfaces, that germ is going to be killed. So this is totally different from the type of cleaning that I'm sure you guys were used to doing when you are opening schools. So that's where entities like Mo Beachvest are actually specializing, because they've got hygiene companies that actually do that type of work. So that's why I was asking, because also in between the classes, this should be done regularly, so that the germs from yesterday are not there the following day. Just cleaning with a cloth and water may not be enough to remove those. So I'm not sure if I've answered you, Mr. McCarthy.
Okay, so meaning there is a special soap.
They use special chemicals,
yes.
and other processes. I'm sure you've seen the guys who come up with something like a spray,
Yes.
that sprays within the classrooms,
Yes,
I've seen that. And all of that. Yes, so that is the type of cleaning.
Yes, meaning that schools are supposed to have that.
They should have, if there is a service provider that provides that service provider should be providing regular, cleaning of that nature.
Okay, then I'm getting worried with the cleaning. Yes, we might have had a disinfectant where a cloth will be used and a mop will be used to clean the surfaces, then a cloth is used to clean the desks. But I'm not sure whether that is really enough, because there are walls and everything else.
Yes.
So meaning we may fall short at that level. Then my other issue is the focus. Yes, if it's grade 12 for some time, it would be much better. But if it's the phased in approach of 2 weeks in between, then we are going to have a challenge immediately because of the shortage of the classes in our case, and the shortage at the hostels. Yes, I'm worried about the PPEs that have not come yet, because they are a prerequisite to some of the things we're talking about. Fine, I agree with Dr. Mute that, yes, monies have been deposited. I'm not sure whether in all the schools. Again, there is support, as she has said, from the department. It's part of us. So, truly speaking, we may be ready as this one school, but I'm not really sure if other schools will have a chance of having all that is recommended to be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Amata, you've listened to Usis Naledi, Dr. Naledi Mbude from the head office. There's a number of issues that you had raised that she responded to. Having listened to her, Are you feeling a little bit better that help is on the way, or you still feel that you guys are still in the deep end? You please unmute yourself. Okay, let me unmute you. All right.
Yes, I'm saying let me first acknowledge what she raised that we failed to raise, and that is very important. The offer of 4 support staff members that are going to be employed by schools for a period of 3 months with a stipend of 2.5. It just came in very handy. We really appreciate that. We have already done the employment. And then secondly, let me also appreciate the fact that they facilitated the trenches to schools. Because actually, let me mention that you'll remember that with our schools, the SGB, the SGB educators, in fact, SGB employees are paid with school fees. And I must mention that in our schools, in our rural schools, parents stopped paying fees the day lockdown was announced.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And it was even difficult even to process salaries in April. So when we received the funds, it really came as a relief, because now that the parents are not paying what is supposed to be used to pay SGP employees, we had to use some of the funds that have been put into our school coffers. Yes. So I'm saying that is a relief, although it's not supposed to happen like that. But unfortunately, that's why in our school, we said after the first week, from starting on the next week, we'll be having parents meeting the whole week, and we'll be calling parents in batches from Monday to Friday, different times and all that, so that we really explain to them the duty, the importance of keeping up with the payment of fees. So I'm saying I'm acknowledging that. I must also acknowledge the deep cleaning that is gonna be coming. I must say I was called by people in charge of hostels to indicate the number of hostels we have, number of classrooms, offices. So when I was asked that information, I could sense that maybe they were thinking about fumigating and fogging of classrooms. But I was not sure. Now that she has just unpacked it, at least it's something that's going to really help, because it's something that we would maybe unable to do it as schools with hostels.
So is there anything that made you happy in the feedback from Undlungul? Something that will make you sleep better tonight?
The cleaning part, yes, it will make me feel better. Also, the recommendation I had saying that they are coming up with a recommendation that more focus now must be on grade 12 for now. Now that is a little bit of a relief, because really we just cannot imagine an additional class without grade 12s having been asked to at least live for some time. So it has been something that has been giving us sleepless nights. She also raised an issue of visits to the school. When we were doing the guidelines, the behavior change, things to be done and things not to be done, we said we are going to close all visits. We don't want any parent. We know parents would come because we have a hostel to visit their learners. We said we don't want any visit. It's just going to be like a camp. So we won't allow any visits.
So as your closing remarks, Mr. Kamata, are you comfortable? Are you comfortable that come Monday, you guys will be able to handle, well, come tomorrow actually, you'll be able to handle the people coming in, and as the weeks, unfold, you will get more support from the center?
Yes, we will start receiving learners who are ready for that part. Hopefully the province, sometimes you wish that they could also consult us on certain issues, but it would be fine that we could be allowed to give feedback, continuous feedback on how the process will unfold, and then hopefully we will manage. We are determined to do it, because
So
our learners really are really. You must remember that in your former model schools and others, this visual education is easier, but with our learners things are difficult. So our learners really want to school. When I was communicating these two learners that we are ready, they must be coming, you could feel that they are really eager to be back at school and
Yes.
continue with their dreams.
All right. All right. I will not get back to you again. So I think is that your closing remark?
That is my closing remark, Pele.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go back to Mr. Makaka. His face, Mr. Makaka. Pele.
Yes, I mean.
Your face doesn't look very happy. I'm quite good at reading faces and trying to understand what's happening inside that head. That's one of the skills that we get given at medical school. Now, you don't look very happy. What's bothering you?
It's such that, Pele, I hate to fail more than I love to win. You don't get comfortable until you start with the process. So the whole thing is a bit scary. But with the support, yes, we are getting from the department, as it was acknowledged by Mr. Kamata, I fully agree that they are supporting us as schools. But it is really scary. Then I am also saying our learners are anxious to come back. Parents have been phoning, but unfortunately, because we did not have the PPEs for the learners and the non-teaching staff, then that made me worried, such that if now I don't have them, although we tried to talk to our local suppliers, now using the SGB funds to assist. Up until they come, then I'll be saying, yes, I am ready. It seems as if Mr. Kamata is ahead and I'm a little bit behind. So that's why I'm saying I'm a bit scared. And I'm worried. We have tried to clean the school and it is clean, but I'm worried because I see that it's supposed to be done continuously, because the virus can be found on the floors, walls, and everywhere else. So that is getting me worried that I must do more than what I've done. Otherwise, I'm comfortable.
You're comfortable. Just one question though, about St. John's College. You guys are most probably one of the schools that fields the biggest matric class at somewhere close to 350 learners every year. How are you going to make sure that, are you able to then reduce those classes, which were normally around 70, per class, to fit within the numbers as suggested by the regulations?
Yes, we managed. That's why I was saying for 365 learners, we have 16 classes. One of them has 30 learners, is the biggest. The other ones have 24 learners. The other ones have 20 learners each.
Yes.
So those are the biggest classes we've used. That's why I was saying I'm worried if the other grades could be phased in immediately, then it would mean we won't be able to take any other grade. But I'm comfortable if the phasing in will not be as quick as I thought it would be, because I was not only planning for grade 12, I was also planning for other grades. Should other grades come, then what do I do? So I'm comfortable now because the 16 classes, well, we do have a shortage because all the other classes are filled with desks from the ones that were taken out, or extra desks from this. So we have 365. We managed to fit them into 16 learners. At least for the staff, we have enough teachers for now to teach this one grade, and we don't have any shortage of teachers for all subjects actually. So yes, we are ready.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At least I can see a smile now. I was worried that as the discussion was proceeding, you started with a smile and you were getting sadder and sadder, you know. So at least I'm happy now. Let me go back to wrap up to Sis Naledi. Sis Naledi?
Yes.
Yes, you've heard your principals. They are happy with some of the feedback that you've given. Now, I just want you to wrap up, you know, give confidence to those parents who've been listening and watching, you know, via the various streams, you know, that, yes, there are challenges here and there, but you guys are on top of them.
Thank you, Dr. Nyati and the two colleagues. I do, Dr. Nyati, want to say that both Mr. Makaka and Mr. Kamata power to ensure.
Sorry, Doc. Can you go back? You disappeared a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
I lost your voice a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. Both Mr. Makaka and Mr. Kamata are part of the group of our principals in the province that make us proud. We have a group, and most our principals go out of their way to ensure that they hold the fort for the department. So I do want to say I understand the frustrating levels that they are experiencing. And this is why we have not slept for the past 2 months to ensure that by the time the first comes, although it will not be rosy for everyone. Remember, COVID-19, and as a medical practitioner, the whole world over, it's everyone is anxious, including myself, because you know I have a child. Mr. Makaka knows my grade 12. She was there with him. So I understand the anxiety, and I do want to say, don't think that your anxiety is unfounded, because COVID-19 is a new disease, and like all new diseases, we need at least 3 years to be able to get around the medical evidence that is going to ensure that we can say we have 100% guarantee. We do not have guarantees the whole world out. But the problem with that, Dr. Nyati, is that because we know COVID is going to be here for the next 18 to 24 months without a vaccine and a cure, do we simply fold our arms and say that we cannot open? I'm excited to hear from them that our learners and our teachers want to go back to school, because we know that the accessibility of virtual learning is an issue for a rural province like the Eastern Cape. And our kids have not been growing up in homes whereby virtual learning is something that everybody has in a touch of a button. So it is important for us to admit and acknowledge that. I also do want to acknowledge that the mistakes that we will do as a department, as Mr. Kamata was saying, we need everybody's proposal. We need everyone's suggestion. There should not be any arrogance in terms of saying everyone should go back because we are ready. The readiness is determined by the collaboration that we have with our schools, with our governing bodies, with our unions. So we are all stressed out because it's the first time that the whole country and the whole system is going to start this phase. So please, we understand, because this also has been our worry, that we don't want to put them in that position. So I want to acknowledge that. But lastly, I do want to say to them, I'm sure it's important to Tonyati for you to explain as a medical professional that there's a difference between just cleaning, routine cleaning, and disinfecting. And the disinfecting does not have to be done by a machine. That's why we've deposited the funds, so that when the school runs out, or when they have not received, they can use that allocation. But it is important to understand that because we cannot always have the service providers coming in to do this on a daily basis, the country will run dry within a month because of the expensive material that goes on with it. But we are saying, where there is a positive case in a school that has been identified, each department has done the necessary procurement in abeyance until those cases necessitate us to do that. But what is important is the observance of the guidelines that we've sent out to schools. There's a package that we've sent for SMTs, for learners, so that we still continue with observing whatever it is that we must in terms of the COVID-19 guidelines. So if there are issues that schools are raising, we are ready to listen, Dr. Nyati and Mr. Magaka and Notata Ukamata. We are not going to be perfect in trying to defeat the anxiety that we have, but the work that is happening as we speak is going to ensure that at least we lessen the burden of anxiety on our principals. Thank you very much, Dr. Nyati.
My last question to you, Sis Naledi.
Yes.
What makes you to stay awake at night as we are approaching the 1st of June? Is there anything, or you are now at a point where you feel you're on top of things?
We are doing the necessary planning every day. I mean, we leave meetings at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it's been now more than a month, it's going to 2 months, doing exactly that, making sure each issue, each proposal, each problem, and the issue of SMMEs that are blocking the delivery of PPEs is keeping me awake at night. But we've activated our IGR structures to ensure that our people must know that everyone who has applied for the supply chain process to be able to bid has been considered if they meet all the requirements. That is why you are saying the delivery of PPEs must be circuit-based, not even district-based, but circuit-based. But the fact that people can go to an extent of closing down the PPEs that Mr. Makaka is talking about, for them not to get into OR Tambo, is keeping me awake at night, because it's work that we have done, it's money that we have spent, it's the preparation that we have done, which is now in abeyance because people have decided that these must not come in because I didn't get business. That for me is what, if we can sort that one out with the relevant structures and people that we are talking to daily, I could go to sleep, because I know that at least in terms of all the work that we have done, we have tried to do our part.
Yes. No, thank you very much. And one thing we did not touch on, maybe you can just quickly, in the last few minutes that are left, unions. Obviously,
Yes.
you know, Department of Education, you have very strong unions, you know, that are a key stakeholder for you guys. Have they been working with you as a department to make sure that things work, or maybe they were also part of causing you to have sleepless nights?
Mr. Kanyati, I want to acknowledge the role, the plan that is what we call the Eastern Cape plan on school readiness is a plan that we have done with our stakeholders. Our unions have been so helpful. Our SGB foundations, all of them, we sit every Saturday without fail at 12 o'clock. All of it doesn't matter where you are. They criticize us constructively. They inform us. They tell us what to change. We have instruction notes that we have sent to schools from instruction. We are now at instruction 20. No instruction note goes out to schools without them saying this is okay or this is not okay. So I want to acknowledge in the Eastern Cape, COVID-19 has brought us closer. It doesn't mean that we don't disagree. I must say this. They have disagreements about certain things because you know that our responsibility and our mandate is different. But I want to say that we acknowledge the role that has been played by our stakeholders, particularly our teacher unions, our labor, NEHAU, SATU, NAPTOSA, FEDSAS, NASGB, all our formations. Everything that we have been able to achieve has been done because it has been done in consultation with them.
Thank
We
you.
want to extend that gratitude. We hope it lasts because we've done everything to ensure we include them in our planning.
No, thank you very much, Sis Naledi. I think I must thank all three of you as my guests. I want to apologize for the earlier technical glitches. I'm not sure what the problem was, but the last part of the interview was actually glitch-free, and I'm happy about that. Was that it allowed you to be much more clearer in terms of what you wanted to communicate. So I want to thank you for your time. I had asked for only an hour. You've actually extended that time to almost 2 hours, which is a long time, to just, dedicate to an interview. I also want to thank you, Sis Naledi, for ensuring that we get the necessary approvals from, the management structures for this interview to take place. And so I just want to ask you to, pass on our gratitude to, to the SG and the rest of the people that you most probably spoke to make sure that this interview takes place. So I want to thank our viewers as well. We have extended the time, by another hour. That means less time for them to do other things that they had planned to do this afternoon. So I want to thank them as well. And I hope that during this discussion, some of their fears were allayed. And let's look forward to making sure that kids go back to an environment that will be, less risky for them. But also because we know that Rome was not built in one day, we also need to make sure that there's continuous improvement. On that note, I want to say thank you and goodbye to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Makaka. Thank you, Mr. Kamata. Thank you, Dr. Nyati.
Thank you very much.